Hello and welcome to Wednesday's Granada Reports. We are live across the northwest.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Here's what's coming up on tonight's programme.
I want you to be in no doubt of the consequences of this horrific attack. The Southport inquiry hears from 4 parents who say it must answer their girls' questions about why the attack happened.
We're live at Liverpool Crown Court as a police officer denies he lost control after being allegedly assaulted by 2 brothers at Manchester Airport.
This used to be 3 tracks of railway lines. It's been disused for almost 60 years, but today big plans have been unveiled to turn this iconic viaduct into something very special.
A teenager from the Wirral who has gone from causing trouble on the streets to getting people off them.
I used to drive around on an electric bike in a balaclava, get into police chases. I was like, nah, I need to stop now and I need to, support my community, not be against the community. That's not normal behaviour and my parents didn't bring me up like that.
An unintentional big adventure. The cat from the Isle of Man who hitched a lift 400 miles away from home.
And it was a misty, murky start for many of us this morning. The same to come overnight tonight. I'll have the details of how things are hotting up later on in the programme.
Well, first tonight, it is these untold stories of remarkable strength and bravery that are missing when we have heard other accounts of this day. The words of one mother who shared the harrowing tale of her daughter's bravery following the Southport attack.
Yeah, she was one of 4 sets of parents giving evidence to the public inquiry into last summer's attack, which claimed the lives of Elsie Stankham, BB King and Alistair Silva Aguirre, while leaving others injured and traumatised.
On the inquiry's second day, the parents of the girls, who have all been given letters and numbers to protect their identity, told Chair Sir Adrian Fulford it was vitally important the girls' stories are heard so the inquiry can understand the complexities of the experience.
Well, Anna Yosef is outside Liverpool Town Hall for us now, where the hearing's been taking place. Anna, what more can you tell us?
Well, nearly a year on from this tragedy, it's clear that the young girls who survived will be dealing with the physical and psychological consequences for the rest of their lives. One mother, holding back her tears, talked about how her little girl, her tiny 7-year-old daughter, was stabbed 33 times. Our children fought alone, she said. They shielded each other, comforted each other and helped each other, and that must be remembered. The little girl lost her entire blood volume and had to have 2 life-saving operations. We also heard from the father of a 9-year-old girl who suffered critical injuries. He said his daughter was stabbed 3 times in the back by a coward she didn't even see. She bears the scars both physically and emotionally of that terrible day. A statement read out on behalf of another family said that their 7-year-old still vividly remembers the attack, including the perpetrator, quote, trying to get her face. She now needs constant support and reassurance, as does another young survivor, whose mother said her daughter asked her, "Will I ever be normal again?" In September, we'll be hearing from more parents whose children survived the attack, as well as a tribute to the 3 little girls who lost their lives.
OK, Anna at Liverpool Town Hall, many thanks indeed.
Well, next tonight, and a police officer has denied he lost control in the aftermath of being allegedly assaulted by 2 brothers at Manchester Airport.
Yes, 20-year-old Mohammed Fahir Ahmaz and 26-year-old Mohammed Ahmad are said to have struck out after GMP officers were called out to an incident in Terminal 2 last July.
Well, today the jury was shown a photo of their mother with injuries to her face alleged to have been sustained during the incident.
Our correspondent Victoria Grimes joins us now from Liverpool Crown Court. And Vicky, what more can you tell us?
Well, the court heard today, Gamal, once again from PC Zachary Marsden. He's a firearms officer with Greater Manchester Police and the officer that the brothers are accused of assaulting. Now, this photo is said to show injuries that their mother sustained as the officer tried to arrest Ahmaz in the car park at Terminal 2 last July. It follows an earlier incident in a coffee shop in the arrivals area at the airport in which Ahmaz is accused of headbutting another man. Now, today the jurors were shown shown CCTV footage which shows Mrs Akhtar kneeling by her son on the floor in that car park area after he was tasered. Under cross-examination, Amaz's barrister Imran Khan, KC, asked PC Marsden if he caused the injuries by hitting her with the taser. He replied, "I believe it is unclear whether or not it was my actions that caused those injuries. I believe I was not the only person who made contact with Mrs Akhtar." He agreed that he pushed the taser into her, saying it was justified in the circumstances. She had grabbed him and he said, "I was at risk of falling on top of Mr Amaz and being vulnerable." Mr Khan continued, saying, "I'm going to suggest to you that that was unnecessary. This was a hard push by your taser on Mrs Akhtar's face." Mr Khan said she was concerned for Mr Amaz. She was not a threat. She was not interfering with anything you were doing. And this was conduct, I suggest, where you have lost control. "I would deny that," PC Marsden replied. Now, both brothers are accused of assaulting PC Marsden. Mr Amaz is also accused of assaulting 2 female officers and a man in the coffee shop. Both men deny the charges. The trial here at Liverpool Crown Court will continue tomorrow.
Vicky, thank you. Well, let's take a look at some more of the day's news now. And a woman has been charged with the murder of a 93-year-old great-grandmother in Stockport. Judy Zussman was found dead in a home in Gatley in April. Her family has described her as a much-loved mother and a devoted wife. Amelia Ali has been charged with the retired nurse's murder. She's due to appear at Manchester Crown Court tomorrow.
More than 900 people in the northwest are on the waiting list for an organ transplant. New NHS figures show a record number of people are waiting for an organ, but the number of donors has fallen. The Health Service is urging more people to sign up to the donor register.
Cumbria's 2 councils have asked the government to delay plans for a new mayor for the county. Cumberland and Westmorland and Furness councils have written to the government to request the proposed 2026 mayoral election is deferred to the following year. They say it would allow more time to prepare, save money and boost turnout if held alongside council elections.
Well, next tonight, victims of the infected blood scandal have urged the government to act on the recommendations of a report which has found that the official compensation scheme is sluggish and secretive.
Yeah, more than 30,000 people were given contaminated blood products between the 1970s to the 1990s, leading to HIV and hepatitis C infections.
Our political correspondent, Leisha Manali, joins us live from Westminster. And Leisha, what have we heard today?
Well, this report made for pretty damning reading, to be honest with you. After all, North West campaigners who fought for years to get an infected blood compensation scheme in place thought that their work was finally done when the government confirmed it last May. But now a new investigation by the man who chaired the original public inquiry has found that these victims of the worst treatment disaster in NHS history, are being exposed to further harm because of delays to compensation and a scheme which is confusing and covered in red tape. Now, one woman from Warrington didn't need a report to tell her that because she's lived it. Dina Peacock contracted hepatitis C after a blood transfusion following the birth of her first child. It destroyed her health, she lost her home and her job, but she's yet to receive a single penny from the compensation scheme or even been invited to apply for it, a wait she describes as mental torture.
I should be just an automatic tick box. They've got all my details. Should go, right, Dina, tick, pay her out. Doesn't need any long-winded weeks on end fact-finding exercise at all. So then I start looking for all my paperwork to find the evidence. So you just don't switch off. It's just totally exhausting. Just get compensation paid to people while they're still alive and have a bit of a life left now. Fed up with fighting. People are exhausted. Just give us the justice that we deserve, really.
Well, today, the inquiry chair set out 9 recommendations for the government on how they can do just that. They include allowing people to apply for the scheme themselves instead of having to be invited, improving transparency on how decisions are made, not making people find complicated evidence to prove they've experienced things like psychological harm, and changing the rules so that a claim should not die with the claimant, but instead become part of their family's inheritance. Now, the government says it thanks the inquiry for all their hard work on this complicated issue, and it will now consider all the recommendations in full. But make no mistake, this work is urgent. Very sadly, many of the victims of this scandal have been left with life-limiting illnesses, and time is a luxury many simply do not have.
Absolutely. OK, Leisha in Westminster for now. Thank you very much.
Well, there's plenty more still to come on the programme tonight, including
the adventuring feline which found herself 400 miles from home.
And things are shaping up to be very hot over the next few days, our third heat wave of the year inbound. I'll have all the details in the weather forecast in a few minutes.
And let's take a look at what's to come on the national news at 6:30. Here's Mary Nightingale.
Coming up on the programme, a new report finds the victims of the infected blood scandal have been harmed further by delays in compensation. Red Bull team principal Christian Horner has been sacked after 20 years. And England and Wales both fight to keep their places in the Euros in Switzerland tonight. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Well, next, to a teenager from the Wirral who went from causing trouble on the streets to getting people off them.
Yeah, here's Dylan Williams. He's only 17, but says he spent much of his earlier teenage years on an electric bike, causing chaos in Birkenhead, but then decided he wanted to give back to the community he felt he'd let down.
So he set up Step to Shelter Merseyside and now works every day to try and help rough sleepers find new homes. Our reporter Ellis Nordorf spent the day with him.
Dylan's the first sign of hope for those who'd stopped looking. But the 17-year-old from Birkenhead's not always been so helpful.
So I used to drive around on an electric bike in a balaclava, get into police chases, and also going into like local McDonald's, just causing a lot of antisocial behaviour. Then going into like local shops like Asda and Tesco, just pulling the shelves down, just making all the customers in distress really, and I thought that was funny.
What changed?
I was like, nah, I need to stop now and I need to, support my community, not be against the community. That's not normal behaviour, and my parents didn't bring me up like that.
You've been the first people who've helped me, to be fair, mate, it's brilliant.
After a hard conversation with himself, it was time for a new purpose. That purpose? Step to Shelter Merseyside. Dylan works every day of the week approaching homeless people and making them known to local authorities, speeding up the process of finding a place to stay. A place very different to this.
It's a bit like a dark dungeon at the night time, yeah. It's a bit scary, to be fair. Basically just the cold floor, all the windows are smashed, cold. Been staying here now for nearly 3 years, just an old abandoned building. Dad passed away, I just fell off the rails a bit, lost my job somewhere. Just everything fell apart, mate, but yeah.
After nearly 3 years, Joe will be staying somewhere safe tonight.
They turned up today and they said they're going to get me somewhere to stay tonight. They're going to get me a mobile phone. Thanks to Dylan that today, I appreciate it.
But that's just one step for Dylan. And there's always another one to take. Another person who needs his help.
The outreach workers for Step to Shelter.
I've got no contact number or nothing.
No, we can. So they'll get in contact with us, and then we'll tell you, and that's how it works.
With a growing team of volunteers, Step to Shelter are making bigger strides by the week, and they're not slowing down.
He's got good support around him, but I don't think he needs it because he's done everything on his own, really.
I want the world to be like, street clean. And there's just no more homeless left in Merseyside.
And he won't stop until he completes his mission. Ellis Nordhoff, ITV News.
Oh, what an impressive young man. Keep doing what you're doing, Dylan. Just 17 years old and still inspiring people with his work.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Great work. Well, next tonight, you may have been one of the 250,000 people who have visited the National Trust Sky Park on Manchester's Castlefield Viaduct over the last 3 years.
Yes, the free garden that's actually been built up on the viaduct, which was inspired by New York's High Line, has been hailed a huge success with residents and tourists alike.
Well, today they announced plans to expand it to the entire length of the viaduct, providing a brand new green thoroughfare throughout the city. Our correspondent Mel Barham has been to see what the project will actually look like.
Built in the late 1800s, Castlefield Viaduct is one of the most iconic structures in Manchester city centre, and for the last 3 years it's been a green oasis, transformed into a sky garden that's welcomed 250,000 visitors. So this is where the current Sky Park ends, but the plans unveiled today will see this green space more than doubled to cover the full 330 metres of this amazing metal structure. And this is what this space currently looks like. What used to be 3 tracks of railway line that stood derelict for almost 60 years is now about to be brought, quite literally, back to life.
This, I think, for me is something special because Castlefield particularly, other than the green space around the Roman fort, there isn't much more space to build green into things that have existed for hundreds of years. So this is a beautiful green connector that'll do precisely that.
And the expansion plans won't just make the Sky Park bigger. The vision is to change it from a cul-de-sac to something much more useful.
We want to create a through route forever that takes you somewhere that has a whole different purpose. It's not just somewhere to visit, it's something to use for your commute, your dog walk, your run, meet your friends. It will change the dynamic of who uses it. We want this thriving, busy, every day, 7 days a week.
£2.4 million of funding from National Highways will make the structure and foundations safe, with more money pledged from the council and combined authority. But they're still short of £500,000 they're hoping to get from private investment. So is this a good use of money?
You're right, it is a lot of money, but I think on balance we have a real opportunity here to make use of a real iconic structure in the heart of a city. And it's been decades in the making. We've got an opportunity now to make it happen, and we're going to grasp that opportunity with both hands.
The timescale we've been working on is to deliver this by this time next year. The first phase will stay open, so we'll build from the other end. Our long-term ambition is to go beyond the Mancunian Way and get all the way into Trafford. So ultimately we can connect with the new developments coming through from Trafford and Old Trafford into the city, and it will become the first park in the sky in the country.
It's an ambitious plan, but a perfect example of urban regeneration. Mel Barham, ITV News, Castlefield.
Plans look great, don't they?
Yeah. Anybody else feel very relaxed watching that report?
Well, to some sports news now, and Everton have completed the signing of striker Tierno Barry from Spanish side Villarreal. The France under-21 international has signed a 4-year contract with the Blues in a deal worth around £27 million.
We're going to stay with Everton as we meet the rugby league star who's about to fulfil a childhood dream.
Yeah, Wigan's Harry Smith is a lifelong Everton fan, and this autumn he'll walk out for England against Australia at the Blues' brand new home, the Hill Dickinson Stadium.
Harry's been given a sneak peek around the venue, and Chris Hall was with him.
When he's not wearing cherry and white, he's an ardent blue. So, when England enter a sellout Hill Dickinson Stadium to take on Australia in the second Ashes Test, no one will be more proud than Harry Smith.
Yeah, sort of put on me since birth. My granddad's a big Everton fan and my dad also, so yeah, sort of had no other way really. And yeah, I really enjoy being an Everton fan. You know, there's a few lads at the Wigan team that like the football, so a bit of banter about that. But yeah, hopefully we have a good season this year in the new stadium, maybe higher up in the league as well, so yeah, see what happens.
To help him acclimatise to this new stage, Harry was allowed behind the curtain, alongside another lifelong Evertonian, St Helens and Great Britain legend Paul Sculthorpe. You've played in some pretty special Ashes venues. Tell me about this place.
Oh mate, this will be the best of them all. You know, I'm very, very envious of the boys. You know, being a lifelong Everton fan as well, and it's just a special place. Just think how they've kept the high sides. You know, the fans are really on top of the players, and you know that's the question when you move from such an iconic stadium is can you keep that atmosphere? And I think this place will.
What have you made of like the walk down the tunnel from the dressing rooms and everything? That's going to be goosebumps, isn't it?
The stadium's big, but the change room's even bigger for change room size. You know, there's a big long walk, so that'll be nerve-wracking, and it's going to be amazing. You know, coming out to the full stadium and sing the national anthem. Hopefully everyone else is belling it out, so it'll be spine-tingling. When you speak to lads who come over from Australia, they say the fans don't really sing as much. There's not much of an atmosphere, so especially if we've got 50,000 passionate England fans in here, I think we can try and rattle them a bit. So yeah, if they can do their bit, it's only going to help us in the long run as well.
This place was just a pipe dream when the last Ashes Test was played more than 2 decades ago. You have to go back 55 years for the last British series win. But with sellout crowds both here and at Leeds, and a spectacular series opener at Wembley, the Kangaroos will need to be on their toes.
Yeah, it has been a long time coming. I played in the last ever one in 2003. No, I think we've got a great chance. You know, there's some quality players.
And what do you think? By the time the Ashes come here, Everton top of the table by then?
That's the plan.
Maybe they should play the theme from Z-Cars as you come out.
Well, I said that when we come out. You know, that'll definitely motivate me and get the fans up for it. You know, so yeah, if we can request that, I'll put it into HR after this.
By the time he next stands on this pitch, he'll have caught a few games from the stands, absorbing the Evertonian energy to make the Aussies come unstuck at the home of the Toffees. Chris Hall, ITV News, Liverpool.
Yeah, Everton top of the table is definitely the plan.
OK, in tennis now, and Liverpool's Neil Skupski has lost in his bid to reclaim the Wimbledon title. The men's doubles champion of 2023 was playing alongside Joe Salisbury in today's quarter-final, but they lost 7-6, 7-6 to Marcel Granollers and Horacio Zeballos.
Football fans have been invited to add their own message of condolence to a mural for the late Liverpool player Diogo Jota. The words Forever 20 have been painted on the side of a house on Sybil Road, close to Anfield Stadium. Hundreds of tributes have already been left in memory of the footballer who died alongside his brother in a car crash in Spain last week.
Sir Paul McCartney has paid tribute to his friend and world-renowned artist Brian Clark, who has died at the age of 71. The Oldham-born designer was known for his work in stained glass and is recognised for keeping the ancient art form alive. Brian designed the cover for Sir Paul's solo album, Tug of War.
Now, Gamal, how far would you travel to get a change of scenery?
400 miles, I think.
Well, 400 miles is a good distance, but possibly surprising if you're a cat.
Yeah, tonight we bring you the tale of the feisty feline from the Isle of Man who loves an adventure. But nothing prepared Herona for her latest trip, one that took her 400 miles away.
You've got to be kidding me.
I'm not, but it wasn't a catastrophe. Josh Stones explains.
From her earliest years, Dusty the cat was always adventurous, and now at 3 years old, the fearless feline is often seen wandering the Isle of Man. But nobody could quite believe her most recent excursion.
Had a message to say, Dusty's been seen on the dashboard of a van. So I went up, couldn't find her anywhere. So I was like, well, maybe she's got out, maybe she's come home. Left it the Friday night, nothing. So then on the Saturday, I was like, well, she's still not come home. Nobody's seen her at the hospital. She's definitely missing. So you went out looking, didn't you, you girls? You went out looking every night and trying to find her with treats and calling her.
Made me feel a bit upset. All of the kids were worried.
That wasn't until Liz was contacted by a man in a van, where Dusty had stowed away for her biggest adventure yet.
So he sent me a picture and I was like, oh my God, she's alive, she's safe. And he's like, yeah, she's absolutely fine. I was like, well, where are you? I'll come and collect her. And he's like, I'm in Tavistock. I was like, where the hell is Tavistock?
Tavistock, as it turns out, is in Devon, overseas and over 400 miles from home.
He was obviously packing everything up and obviously she's just snuck in and he's not seen her. And then obviously he's driven all the way down and found her in the back of the van as he's got back down home. Initially, I was so excited and relieved that she was alive, and then panic set in and was like, the reality of how do we go down to get her?
The answer came from the Isle of Man community, donating more than £1,000 to bring Dusty home.
I can't believe so many people are wanting her back, because to us she's just a family pet, but obviously she's at the hospital all the time, so a lot of people know her. But yeah, so I was really surprised at how much the whole community came together to do that.
So with a fully funded journey, Liz set off for the 8-hour drive, while Dusty waited patiently at a Devonshire cattery.
So we got there, went in, and the lady was like, oh, she's in this room. I was like, okay, went in. I was like, oh my God, hi Dusty. And she just crawled out of the bed, stretched and just looked at me. And I was like, oh, okay, lovely to see you too. My husband put her in the cage, we put her in the car and started the drive up. So yeah, I don't think it's fazed her at all, but she's not ventured very far as yet.
A touch of caution from Dusty, now back home where she belongs, after an adventure she'll never forget. Joshua Stokes, ITV News, Douglas.
Oh, poor Dusty.
The perfect ending to the story.
Yes! Make him stop.
Come on!
Let's get the weather. Here's Joe.
Why do I need a shower? I've been out in the rain.
The faster you go, the sooner you'll be out. You'll save water too.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Thank you. A very good evening to you. It will be hotting up across the northwest of England and for the Isle of Man over the next few days. Dry and fine conditions to come, with temperatures well above average for the time of year, both by day and night. In fact, pretty uncomfortable for sleeping in our towns and cities after tonight. The details then, and it's a homegrown batch of hot air across the UK that continues over the next few days and nights. It's really not until Monday when it begins to ebb away, a return to a more Atlantic westerly airflow, freshening things up and introducing more unsettled conditions into next week. But back to this evening, and here in the northwest, dry and fine over the next few hours. A little bit of low cloud and mistiness and sea fog developing for Irish Sea coasts, but also we'll see low cloud developing in the Lake District, the Cumbrian Fells, the Pennines and the Peak District before dawn. A murky end to the night in those places and warm in urban areas, 17 Celsius for the likes of Liverpool overnight tonight. On to tomorrow, and the sun will be up at 4:53. It sets at 9:39 tomorrow evening. A hot day to come tomorrow, with low cloud mistiness dissolving pretty quickly, revealing hot spells of sunshine through the course of the day and into the afternoon inland, 25 or 26 degrees. Perhaps a return to some sea fog pushing into Irish Sea coasts later on in the day, but for the most part, it is going to be very sunny. Thereafter, unbroken sunshine and rising temperatures will be on the menu as we round out this week, and nights will become rather uncomfortable for sleeping. Our towns and cities not falling much below 19 or 20 degrees, and temperatures will peak on Saturday and Sunday by day at 32 Celsius.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Making the most of summer. Piri sponsors ITV pollen count.
We are experiencing a surge in the grass pollen season this week. Levels today have been high. Looking at tomorrow, it'll be high again. Then it shoots up to very high to end this week. Take care. See you soon.
Just before we go, it has emerged that the Oasis hit Don't Look Back in Anger has been revealed as the band's most played song on radio and TV.
Yeah, it's racked up the equivalent of over 7 years of cumulative airplay since the year 2000, and will be joining in the Oasis fever later in the week ahead of their homecoming gigs at Manchester's Heaton Park this weekend.
Yeah, that's going to be a special programme on Friday. It's going to be a good watch. We shall see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.